freedom just begun, living large under the sun. Under the sun.
Hello, and welcome to the SmartMAI Consulting Edge Podcast, where we speak with experienced consultants, advisors, and business leaders about how they solve problems, guide organizations through change, and drive sustainable growth and benefits. I'm your host, Dan Mulberry. Today's episode is titled, Stop Borrowing Someone Else's Business, Build a Coaching Brand That Is Actually Yours. The coaching industry has no shortage of advice, and coaches are often advised to use someone else's proven framework. But what happens when a capable coach does everything others suggest and the business still just doesn't feel right? Well, our guest today is going to help us answer that question. He believes the problem may not be effort or even the methodology they employ. It may be clarity. Adam Roach is the founder and CEO of I Love Coaching Company. Adam spent more than 20 years building businesses, teams, and leaders. His background has included tennis, real estate investing, brokerage leadership, recruiting technology, and of course, coaching. At Keller Williams, Adam helped build and lead an organization that supported more than 700 agents and nearly $2 billion in sales. He later built a recruiting tech company that's helped recruit more than 130,000 real estate agents across North America. Today, he leads the I Love Coaching Company, where he helps experienced coaches, consultants, and leaders turn what they already know into a clear, profitable coaching business. His real coach method starts with a simple idea. Do not build your business from someone else's identity. Build it from your own experience, your own voice, and the results you know how to create. Adam, welcome to the SmartMAI Consulting Edge.
Dan, I tell you what, I was listening to that. I was like, man, that is one cool dude. I want to meet this guy right here. That is, thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have an amazing conversation. And
yeah, I'm excited about it.
How fast time flies. I think about those years and all that building. I mean, heck, all that started in 1999, and here we are, 2026. And it's like, whoa, that was a long time ago.
Well, let's go back to the start. You have a really interesting backstory of what inspired you to ultimately become a coach. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a simple story. I'm a simple guy. I'm from Indiana. I grew up the grandson of a big-time farmer in northern Indiana, or West Lafayette, actually. And then my father was an Olympic swim coach. And so I've been around, watched Grandpa work hard, a lot of manual labor, and then I watched my dad in the coaching leadership space take swimmers to the Olympics. But again, I didn't know what I was doing back in the day. That was just me being grandson and son, right? And it caused the opportunity, if you will, for me to understand hard work and then how to be coached. I think that's a big thing we have to realize is, are we coachable people first and foremost? And my dad instilled in me to be a coachable person. And to this day, I mean, here we are. I think I still have, actually, I know, I have 4 coaches personally that still coach me to this day. And I get to meet with them once a month. And so the point of all of that is it took me into the tennis world. I played collegiate tennis. I went out and tried to play professional tennis, Dan, and found out real quick that I was an American, not a European, and was getting my butt kicked over and over and over. I'm actually 0 for 8 on the pseudo ATP tour. And
Wow.
I say pseudo because I never made it to any big tournaments.
Well, but you made it to the 8. That's a big accomplishment.
Let's just say that 0 and 8 probably cost me at least $10,000. So that was my first lesson in business and how not to make money. And anyway, it took me into the tennis business, which then led me into the real estate business, that then led me into real estate brokerage and into the SaaS model. And then ultimately it all ended with, I'm a very spiritual guy, and I love how God works. And I chased success, Dan. I chased success. And John Maxwell has been a dear coach and mentor of mine for a long, long time. And after my father passed in 2019, he asked me a question. He said, Adam, when are you going to stop chasing success and start chasing significance? I don't think I know what that means. I've got real estate offices that are doing amazing stuff. I've got a tech company that's doing amazing stuff. We're having a lot of significance, John. And then here's what had hit me. I was at my dad's funeral and gave his eulogy, and this man comes up to me, Dan, and he had an old school, some of your listeners won't remember this, but you and I do, an old school cassette tape player, right? Rectangle, you put the tape in, you push it down and push play, right? And he says, Adam, I want you to hear this. I said, okay. And all it was my dad's voice saying, go, 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 go. And this man had my dad's name on it with a time. Now, this man was a breaststroker. So if you know anything about swimming, breaststroke is where your head goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. And he knew that if he heard my dad's voice with that cadence a certain number of times, that he would get that time on that tape. And so I was like, uh-oh, that's what John's talking about. That's significance. That's legacy. Where he said to me, I haven't swam for your dad in 27 years. And yet I still use this tape with my swimmers today to understand cadence and rhythm in swimming. And he said, I put that cassette tape on the pool deck when I was 16 years old, and I haven't stopped listening to it since. And he had 4 different ones with 4 different times. And that's when it hit me. That legacy, John always says, you can't have a legacy without legs. And that was a legacy that my dad left, not knowing he was doing it, but that was him having significance in that ripple effect. When you put that pebble in the water and there's ripples that you don't know are going to happen, and that was it. And that's when I sold everything. Literally, Dan, I sold everything. And I've now stepped in this space to serve coaches because I know that they're going to have the impact on the other people.
Well, that's a very cool story, and it's always amazing to me. I grew up as an Air Force brat, so I had, of course, a lot of influence from my father growing up that I didn't realize until much later what impact that had and what a benefit it was. And same thing as a parent, you don't realize necessarily what you're instilling in your children. So it's great to be cognizant of that. And it's great that you had an experience where it was kind of brilliantly illustrated to you what impact your father had on others, not just you.
Right.
But so today you work with people who are often really good at coaching, but they still struggle to build that strong coaching business.
That's right.
Why does that coaching skill not automatically translate into business success?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it can and it will. But here's what we have found, and you said it in the intro, is we're using borrowed authority, right? This is my opinion, but it's also my experience in this lane. We help coaches build coaching businesses. That's it, right? That's what we do. Now, do coaches need help in the coaching lane as it relates to truly coaching? Sometimes. But what they need help with mostly is identifying what is their authority? What is their IP? What is truly, Dan, theirs? Because now that's not to say you can't borrow from yesterday. You should borrow from your past. But here's what we have found is coaches will come into our world and we have a blueprint. We call it the REAL blueprint. Now, REAL is not an arrogant term, it's an acronym. And the acronym should land with the listeners here, specific to what I'm talking about with their own IP. And that means relevant, experiential, authentic leaders. So the word real is relevant, experiential, authentic leaders. What we watch when coaches come in to this lane of coaching, from what I call a past container, the first thing that shows up, Dan, is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. Why? Because they've been borrowing someone else's authority to have success, but now they're on their own. They're like, uh-oh, who am I and what's my voice? And I'll give you an example of this. We had a lady come in. She owned 16 McDonald's franchises and successfully exited all 16 after I think like a 24, 25-year run with a 7-figure exit. You know the first thing she said? Why would people listen to me?
Are you serious?
And I was taken back. It was because she had followed someone else's system to have success. She hadn't built her own system. So what we called is the fill in your blank, fill in your name way. So the Dan way, the Adam way, the Betty Sue way, or fill in your company's name, right? The I Love Coaching way. When you can establish your way, now people don't necessarily want to pay for your know-how. They want to know and will pay for how you did it, right? But that's what we have to expose first is how did Dan do it? How did he do it? And then when you can build that, now you have your identity and now you have your own IP.
So that identity is obviously important. Can people be too close to their own expertise to see what really makes that valuable to others?
We call that standing on top of your mountain. Yes, they can be. And here's what I mean. If I go back to my tennis days, my kids play at a tennis academy right now. They go to a tennis academy. We're blessed to have an 18-year-old who's nationally ranked son and a 16-year-old who's a nationally ranked daughter. and getting highly recruited right now. And it's an amazing process. Very scary for me because as dad, I don't want to let go, but we have to do that, Dan. Even my 16 and 18-year-old have a mountaintop. And what I mean by that is, and you said too close, they almost don't know what they know to a new person, right? So we call that when you're standing on top of the mountaintop, you've been doing it for so many years that the little nuances you don't even think about anymore, right? It's an unconscious competence, but yet the person at the bottom of the mountain who is relatively new in this space, my kids couldn't say, hey, go pick up the racket and show me your top spin. They'll be like, how do I hold the racket? What is top spin? But yet they've been hitting that shot for the last, I don't know, 16 years for my son. He's been playing since he was 2, right? So he gets that. But that's with your language. I like that, too close. We can have a tendency to be too high on our mountain. And if we are down, if our clients are down at the bottom of the mountain, we're going to overtalk them. We're going to talk aspirational stuff versus tactical, simple stuff.
So almost every successful coach I speak to also takes coaching from one or more other coaches, just like you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there a danger that learning from the other coaches turns into an imitation of everything they're telling you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
How do you avoid that?
You don't. No, I don't think you avoid it, but you have to understand containers, right? So I'll give you an example. This is an amazing book behind me, Dr. Kelly Flanagan. It's called The Road Less Triggered. Now, Dr. Kelly Flanagan, love the man to death. He's my coach. He's my relationship coach. So Dan, I've been married once before, and about 6-7 years post that divorce, I thought, I'm falling in love again. I thought, wait a minute, time out. That first one was really expensive. Do I want to do this again, right? And I thought, you're just being silly, Adam. Don't set yourself up for failure that way. You got to go get coached. Okay, so I found Dr. Kelly Flanagan, an incredible relationship coach. And I had him work on me, right? I had him work on me so I could show up into that relationship and be a different person, a better person than I was the first time because I couldn't afford a second divorce. And I still use some of his stuff to this day when I am helping people out one-on-one. But I have to give him the credit because if I attempt to take credit for it, relevant, experiential, authentic, right? That's the A in real. I'm going to show up inauthentic if I say that it's mine. I'm going to show up inauthentic if I try to use his methodologies as my own. But if I give credit where it's due, it's not my IP, but I can use it. Now, there's 3 things you can do here if you want to borrow someone else's authority. I say you memorize it, internalize it, and then personalize it. Once you can do that, now you always give credit where credit's due. But if you have a personalized approach, you can start to put your own spin on it, right? That's what we call the Adam way or the Dan way or the fill in your name way when you get to that personalization side of it.
So we all have access to AI now, and I know a lot of coaches are using it. AI can help you copy styles, create offers, the whole 9 yards. Does that make that authentic point of view more valuable?
I would almost say on the contrary. I think it can make it inauthentic even more. And here's why. So we do workshops all the time. We've got one coming up. I don't know when this is going to be dropped, but we have one coming up at the end of September. And I used to only take between 10 to 15 coaches at a time because I like for it to be intimate. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply sit down and go over what we call sellable offers. Sellable offers are scalable offers. And we have workbooks. We have guided stuff that we will do. And it'll be very interactive. So it's not just going to be talking heads. And here's what I tell every single one of them. I'm going to lead you through a process that at the end of it, you will have an established payoff. Doesn't have to be monetary, but it could be. Where at the end of this, you will have a scalable offer. Or you'll have a sellable offer. And those are 2 different things. But if you throw your workbook into AI, an AI agent first, that's not your words, that's not your feelings, that's not your experience, right? It's going to fill in the answers the best way it knows how, but it doesn't know your experience. It doesn't know your 3 a.m. wake-ups. It doesn't know those things. So I always tell them you do the workbook first. You do the work first and let AI be an enhancement of it. Let it be an enhancement. AI is phenomenal. I love it. I use it all day, every day. as we were talking beforehand about top of funnel type content stuff all day, every day, right? But it's me first and then enhancement second.
Well, let me ask you a few more questions about your real coach method. So you mentioned that stands for relevant, experiential, authentic, and leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have already described the R, the E, and the A in the answers to the previous questions here. But I'm curious, why does leader why is that the final piece in your model?
Yeah. So Dan, if we were in a coaching relationship, we could have amazing conversations, right? We could have real deep work. We could move you forward in the direction that you want. However, what is the definition of a leader? An influencer. What's the definition of an influencer? Someone that gets someone else to take action. That's it. So if we can sit here and have a conversation that's relevant, experiential, and authentic, and then you finish the call and I haven't led you, influenced you to go take action, I haven't finished the real portion. I haven't finished the L. And again, whether it's a coach in our community, whether it's someone that I'm working with one-on-one, you better believe there's going to be accountability with actionable items at the end of every single call. Now, if someone joins our community and they're not in what we call our accelerated program, great. Their portion of actions is self accountability. But they have a whole thread of coaches talking in the community all day long. And we have part of our process to share where you are in your journey of the 4 phases that we coach. But that's the big L. If you can't lead someone, which is influence someone to get them to take action, that relationship in the coaching space isn't going to last long.
Makes sense. So one of the things you've talked about is deciding, a coach needs to decide who they serve and what they believe. Talk about the importance of that.
Yeah. So let's go to who you serve first. So that's better known as the avatar, right? Who is the individual? I didn't say people, individual that you serve. And once you have that clearly identified, singular, everything else becomes easier. Now, let's put an asterisk here. If I choose to serve billionaires, Dan, and I am going to serve billionaires, let me say it again. I want to serve high net worth millionaires to get them to a billionaire status. I am being inauthentic because I've never done $1 billion, right? Yet. Let's put a comma yet there, right? Maybe, we'll see. God willing. If I don't have clarity on the who, if I don't have clarity on that avatar, everything else is worthless, is fuzzy. So let's go to this space, this singular space. Who is it that you are serving? I want to know demographics, geographics, and here comes the one that most people miss, psychographic. Psychographic is how does that avatar think? Well, Adam, I don't know. I've never met them. Not true. The avatar, Rory Vaden says it best, you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person who you used to be. Great. So if you can serve you from yesterday, guess what? You know how you think, or at least maybe you try to block it out, but you know the experiences that you've had. Okay. That's how important the avatar is. We have a 3-question simple way to identify the avatar. Goes like this. If you're serving the person you used to be, the first question you have to ask yourself is, these are highly confidential and very IP oriented. So we got to be careful here, Dan. Okay. So the very first question is, do you like them? Do you like them? Right? Because if they're on your calendar and you don't like them, that's going to be a problem. Okay. So the first question is, do you like them? The second question is, can you and will you help them? Okay. Can you and will you help them? And then the third one, which is the one most coaches miss, can they afford you? Okay. Can they afford you? But when it comes to the affordability, Dan, I am a hardcore believer from experiences that this is the boat that coaches miss the most. And here it is. Price is not your value. It's not Dan. Price is not Dan. Dan's not for sale. Adam's not for sale. If you step into this coaching lane and you say, Adam, I've got my avatar defined. I know the demographic, geographic, and how they think psychographic. I'm going to charge them this, but I'm a little nervous to charge them this. Why are you nervous? Well, am I worth that? Wrong. Ding, ding, ding. What we have to do is define your payoff first, Dan. What is the outcome that working with Dan is going to get this singular avatar? Since you knew who this avatar was and you know how they think, you know what they're looking to accomplish. We call it the 1/10th rule. If you know what your process gets someone from A to Z, and you know what that is, you can charge 1/10 of whatever that payoff is financially. So if I'm going to get you to $1 million, Dan, and I say, Dan, here's the process A to Z. Now, it's only guaranteed if you do the work, but I'm going to charge you $100,000. Who wouldn't trade $100,000 for $1 million in return? Any smart business person would, right? That is what we call then the smart payoff. So I have your avatar identified, know what your payoff is, and now you can go run with your business.
So given what you just described, and you also talked about getting people to understand that their knowledge is their IP, and you've talked about the method to help them get that, you've talked about helping them find the hidden method inside their experience.
Mm-hmm.
How does a potential coach know when what they've developed, the idea that they've come up with, it is enough to become a real offer?
Yeah, great question. So again, I think I've mentioned we have a 4-phase blueprint. So the first phase, Dan, is what we call going inside to go outside. So the inside component is we got to work on yourself first because you're coming from a past container or many containers, and that's okay. There are so many coaches. By the way, no one works for Adam Roach. No one is an I Love Coaching coach. They're all just community members. Think of us like a gym, right? So we are a gym membership, and people come in, they work out, and they then go to the beach and show all their muscles, right? And in this question right here, it is the muscles that they're showing is getting clients. Okay. So the first phase is going inside to go outside, which is identifying your unique problem solution cycle, identifying your avatar, and identifying your passion in this space, right? So that's step number 1. Phase 2 is, okay, now I've got this avatar identified. Now I've got this payoff identified. I'm going to go find 10 one-on-one coaching clients. Well, most people will say, well, Adam, I need to go to a group coaching method first. Nope, not true. And I'm going to tell you why. If you go get 10 one-on-one coaching clients, now this is going to sound a little contrary to what I just said, but hold still for a second. We suggested they go get 10 one-on-one coaching clients, work with them for a minimum of 2 hours a month, and charge them $1,500. You can charge them whatever you want to, but charge them $1,500 because you are now a specialized coach, not a generalist coach. Specialized means because you have a payoff. Generalist coach says, hey, Dan, work with me. I'm a coach. I can help you in the business space. Very general. Specialized coach says, hey, Dan, work with me. I will help you develop your business to a scalable business that will get you to X dollars. Specialist coach. Okay. Go get 10 one-on-one coaching clients that are already in what we call the like and trust you space. They're right underneath your nose. They're in your peripheral already. When you can go get 10 of those, at $1,500 a piece, that's $15,000 a month or $180,000 in a year. That should keep your lights on, right? That's what we say. Phase 2 is go keep your lights on. Go now work with these one-on-ones too. Dan, this is the big part here that I love watching coaches develop. Your process. Your process in the coaching space is the Dan way, the Adam way. When you're working with these one-on-one clients, you start to develop your process even more. Right? You have your defined payoff. Now you're working from the A to Z on how to get that payoff. And I get to work with you every single week, or I get to work with you twice a week, whatever your format is. Once you have that clearly identified and you have what we call receipts, now you can move to what we call phase 3, which is the one-to-many approach. One-to-many is not just group coaching. One-to-many can be as defined as many different containers are. It can be group coaching. It can be a community. It can be a masterclass, a challenge. It can be anything that is a one-to-many approach using your process now, right? Using your process. And that process is what you've helped develop in the one-on-ones. And now the goal with phase 3 is how do we take that process, that one-to-many, we call it the first paragraph model. And the first paragraph model says in that one-to-many, Dan, I'm only going to give you one paragraph or one chapter of my process. You don't get the whole thing. You get one chapter. If you want the whole thing, now you work in what we call proximity, and you want to work now with me one-on-one. Now from that $1,500, now we get to charge you whatever number you want based on the payoff in the 1/10th rule.
So
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
no, that's a great answer. So I'm curious, do you see AI as a tool that can help people kind of identify what their IP is, what their methodology should be, or is
Absolutely.
based, the ability of the AI to take in all kinds of information, including meeting notes and transcripts? Does that
Absolutely.
help?
Yes, yes. We call it the second brain, right? So the second brain is your AI. You should have an AI agent that is working for you. I don't care if I'm not a big fan of GPT anymore, but let's just go to Claude. Let's go to Manus. Let's go to Perplexity. Perplexity is a little bit different. Any of those, go create a project and call it Operation Process, right? Operation Dan Way, whatever you want to call it. Every piece of any IP you have ever created goes in there, from meeting notes to if you have YouTube content, if you have social media, whatever you have that is from your world, from your expertise, throw it in there. Throw it in there. Let that become a second brain where now you can go in there and start to ask it questions almost which are answered in your words. We have our blueprint in an AI agent that we're on version 8 of our blueprint, which is our process. And anytime a coach has a question, we throw that question in there. And we're in the process of building our own AI generated agent that is specific for the blueprint. So they don't have to go into even the community to ask other coaches questions. They can just go right into our second brain and start asking it questions.
Well, let's get into a little more detail about coaches building an offer that people understand.
Okay.
What makes an offer easy for the prospect or the avatar to understand?
Yep. One word, one simple word, clarity. Clarity. That's it. One thing I'll say to our listeners right now, if you are building an offer that is clever, stop. Clever does not attract. Clever does not sell. Clarity sells. And Dan, what we have to identify is two things first and foremost. The first thing we have to realize is that you are not going to convince anyone to buy. No, stop. Stop trying to convince people to buy. Why do buyers buy? Because they want to, right? Buyers will buy because they want to. Secondly, what do buyers buy? The payoff. They don't care about you. They don't care about the parts. They don't care about the process. They don't care about the people. They care about the payoff. And I'll give you a simple little example. And this is a silly example, but it's a fun one. We live in Charleston, and at the bottom of King Street, which is the shopping area, is a Gucci store. Yep. And now I'm not a fashionista guy. That's not for me, but I'm going to go the route with my wife. My wife says she works hard so she can spend hard, and then clearly I have no hair, right? So that's a point of contention, but that's neither here nor there. But let's look at the payoff language. She knows when she walks by that Gucci store, because she has Gucci products already, she knows what the payoff is that she gets if she buys a shirt, or if she buys shoes, or if she buys a bag. She has a defined payoff herself. Gucci solves that problem. Okay. So this goes back to psychographic of the avatar. How are they thinking? Now, let's go into the second part of this is what I call confirmation bias. And we've heard this out in the world before. And if you're not, this is a really cool concept. Confirmation bias is once you have an offer that has clarity, that solves someone's problem, and that someone is probably the past version of yourself, and they come into your world, your ecosystem, and they pay you. We call that trust. They pay you and they have success. You have to have some sort of ascension model in your business, because confirmation bias will say, I need to spend money again with this person. So let's take an example of Apple. I'm an Apple guy. I have an Apple iPhone, but I also have an Apple Watch. Oh, and I also have an Apple iPad and an Apple computer and Apple headphones. So if we think about it through the lens of being a business owner, one customer can turn into multiple buyers when you understand confirmation bias from the simple starting point of, I have a clear offer that sells, right? That solves a problem for somebody.
So going back to AI again, another way AI can be useful is helping to generate offer ideas. They can generate hundreds of them in seconds.
Yeah.
Does that make that clarity that much harder because the coach now has too many choices of how to proceed?
Less is more and simple is better, right? Less is more and simple is better. Actually, if they want to go to ilovecoachingco.com, CO in there, you'll see where it says, what does it actually say? It says find your path. Okay, so find your path here is you can click on where it says new to coaching or already coaching. And the already coaching is we call it an offer scoreboard. And this is a sellable offer scoreboard. And it's a simple little, I think, 15 question assessment for yourself that you can throw in the answers to what you have built or are building to see based on our mechanism, our blueprint, if it will have success. And we've used this countless times over and over and over. So yes, you can definitely use AI, but be careful because AI is good, but your experience is great, right? And I want that to be able to land. And the sellable offer and a smart offer, right? We use an acronym called SMART, and it's different than the SMART that we've talked about in the past. But a smart offer has key components to it that the marketplace likes.
So you also teach what you call simple relational enrollment. How is that distinguished from the typical coaching industry sales model?
Well, let's look at this. So two things. Let's talk about sales. Dan, I love sales. And who do we think are the best closers on the planet? Let's have a conversation here, Dan. Who would you say? Who do you think are the best in the sales world? Who do you think are the best closers on the planet?
Wow, that's a great question because I haven't figured that out yet, or I'd be the best closer on the planet. I got to say, people who understand the need of the customer and the value they're offering, how they can get that customer to achieve their goals,
Right.
and how to communicate that as the value of what they're offering.
Love it. I believe the best salespeople on the planet are restaurant servers. Let's think about it, right? I'm walking into a restaurant and I am now a ready, willing, and able buyer, right? Buyers buy, why? Because they want to. So I'm walking into a restaurant and I sit down, the server sits me down, or the host sits me down, I sit down, and the server comes up to us and says, the first question, what's the first question they say, Dan?
They usually ask you if you'd like a drink.
And there's the simple, easiest closing line on the planet. Would you like? Would you like? Selling sucks. Selling is hard. One-on-one selling is it's a container that someone's either going to win together or someone is going to lose. But when we can put our buyers in a container, such as a restaurant, with a headline that says, this is my offer of fill in the blank, right? Let's just take Ruth Chris, right? Ruth Chris Steakhouse. That is an offer at the very top. It's a steak house. That is the payoff. The payoff is I'm going to go get a steak, right? And I sit down as a ready, willing, and able buyer. Think about this. This is a one-to-many approach. How many buyers are in Ruth Chris? I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Depends on the size of the restaurant, right? And these servers come up and they know that you're ready to buy. And they simply say, would you like a drink?
Exactly.
Now, let's go to the next question. What do they ask? Would you like to hear the specials? They're upselling you. The menu's right there, but they're already upselling you. Would you like to hear the specials? No, thanks. I'm good. I know exactly what I want. I want an 8-ounce filet. I want the sweet potatoes, and I want a good sweet tea. Okay, fantastic. Great. Meal's finished. Dan, what's the next question they ask?
Can I bring you the dessert menu? Would you like
dessert? So 1, 2, 3, at least 3 offers, right? Or would you like a cocktail to end the, would you like a coffee, right? That's another billable sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then would you like dessert? Now what do they do? Now they give you the bill. And you see every amount that you just spent because you're a ready, willing, and able buyer. And you even give them a tip because they upsold you all day long. And you write it on there, and sometimes you'll write even thank you, and you go out, and you are now what? You are a customer that got the payoff that you desired, steakhouse, got the payoff that you desired, and now guess what? You're probably going to go tell someone, I just had the best steak ever at Ruth's Chris. I didn't feel like I was pressured. I got the best steakhouse, best steak. You should go check it out. And guess what I'm going to do? Confirmation bias says, that was so good, I'm going to go back and get it again.
Exactly.
Okay, now, how does that relate to our world in the coaching space? Number one, stop one-to-one selling. Stop it. Stop. It's hard, right? What you need to do is build containers that are one-to-many selling. Okay, one-to-many selling. And that is having a sellable offer as a title, right? We do challenges. Challenges, we call them the 10K coaching offer challenge. And the challenge is we're going to help you build a 10K offer so that by the end of the challenge, you have one that can go out and make you $10,000. And we've done this countless times. And they come into our container. They know the title, 10K coaching offer. We teach them the steps. We don't upsell them. But I'll tell you what we do, Dan, is at the very beginning, and I want everyone to hear this because you should be doing this too. At the very beginning, when I get them into the restaurant, when I get them into the container, I simply say, I am not here to upsell you. I will make you an offer at the end, whoever wants to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, that's okay. When we're finished, I'm going to give you exactly what you paid for. But those who want to hear it, confirmation bias, I will share the offer. I will invite you to, would you like to go to the next step? And when we do that, we have about an 82% conversion rate. Why?
Wow.
Because the people who have come into our container, they got amazing value and they want something else.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
So I have to go back to your restaurant example that you used. My wife and I go out to dinner typically on Friday night, date night, and we went to a steakhouse this past Friday, had a great server. He did all of those upsells. We didn't take any of them. We got our standard meal, paid and left. But when we got the check, I was like, I turned to my wife, I said, that guy was a great waiter. I feel bad I didn't take any of his upsells. And I gave him a little extra tip because I didn't, because he did such a great job.
Right.
That's a great analogy.
So when you're thinking about it and you have a sellable offer, you know who your avatar is, you know what the payoff is, and you have a sellable offer, you never have to sell again. You never have to feel like you're selling because you're just inviting. And when you can invite people and you can build a container to bring people value, you don't feel like a sleazy salesperson. And I've lived that world. I hated that feeling, right? Yep.
Well, another AI question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What can a good human coach still see that an AI system may miss?
Feelings.
Pretty general question.
Yeah, it's totally feelings. Right, totally feelings. And I'll give a simple example of this. We as coaches have to be, number one, good listeners. But let's go back to Donald Miller's book, A Hero on a Mission. A Hero on a Mission is an incredible book. He talks about 4 characters, and there's always 4 characters to every movie, he says, and 4 characters in a book, and there's always 4 if it's a storybook. And let's go through these characters, and I'm gonna get to why a coach is better than AI. So the 4 characters go like this. The very first character is that of a victim. A victim is someone who is not willing to transform. The second character is that of a villain. A villain tells the victims, you're right, you can't transform. The third character, most people would say, is a hero. It's not true. The third character is that of a victim who is willing to transform. And the fourth character is that of a guide. And the guide is the one that finds the victim who is willing to transform and transforms them. All right. Now let's go into you being a coach versus AI. A coach can feel. A coach is the guide. But you as a coach, you got to identify yourself when you are on a call or on a Zoom or on a one-to-many container. How are you showing up? Are you showing up as the victim? Are you showing up as the villain? Are you showing up as the victim who is willing to transform? Or are you showing up as the guide? Because I'll tell you this, if you are showing up with your cape on and your boots on as the hero, you've already lost. Everybody on that call is a hero. They're the victims who are willing to transform. That's why they're there. How many movies, Dan, have we watched where there are 2 heroes? Not any that I can remember. Why? Because heroes clash. Heroes clash. So as a guide, there's 2 words I want you to remember. Number 1, as a guide, you've got to remember to have empathy. Number 2 word that you as a guide, and this is where your process comes into play, you have to have competence. Now, what does that really mean? Well, let's go. I always love to give this example as when I'm doing a keynote. I want you to pretend you're walking through the woods, and you're walking through the woods and it's dark out, really dark, and it's kind of a dingy day. And then, I don't know, I just always envision like a Western, like Seattle. It's just cold and dingy and gray, and you're walking through the woods, and you're the guide, and you come across this huge hole, and you look down to this huge hole, Dan, and you see three people, and you're like, oh, that's a big hole. And you look down there, and you can see these people, and you start communicating with them. Hey guys, gosh, that looks deep. That looks cold. That looks dingy down there. I know how you all feel because I've been down there before. Now, I also know how to get out. Who wants to get out? They all raise their hand except for the villain, maybe. Victim says, yeah, I'm sure I'll consider getting out. The victim's like, we're not getting out of here. I'm sorry, the villain says, we're not getting out of here. Now, the victim who is willing to transform, the hero says, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out. So the guide says, okay, I'm going to throw down a rope. And I'm going to throw down this rope. It's got 4 knots on it. Whoever wants to grab it. And I want you to put your left hand first, your right hand on top of that knot. And I want you to pull yourself up with your biceps and put your feet on the wall. Then go to the next knot, do the same thing. Next knot, do the same thing. And then when you get to the very top, put your left hand on the ground, your right hand on the ground, and push yourself out and get out. That's competent because I've been there before and I know how to do it. We've got to understand as coaches, different from AIs, we can feel. We can feel. AI can't feel. AI has answers. AI is the hero on top of that big hole. AI is that hero that says, you can do it. Come on, kid. You're standing at the top of the mountain, right? That's that mountaintop language. You can do this, kid. It's very aspirational. You can get yourself out. Just grab the rope. I don't know how to do it, but just grab the rope. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not a real coach. Right? Hope that answered the question.
Oh, absolutely. Great answer. So last subject I wanted to cover with you is one of the values the I Love Coaching company has is that a coaching business should create freedom for the owner, not burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Why do coaches sometimes build businesses that they eventually resent or it doesn't give them the life that they want?
Well, it's going to be unique to everybody, Dan, but I do believe that people get into the coaching business they should get into the coaching business. Well, you heard my story. Why did I get in the coaching business? Because I wanted to serve people, right? I wanted to serve them at a level I didn't do before, or it's because before I was chasing success, the money, the notoriety. I was chasing all of that. I could walk through my offices and everybody knew my name, Dan, and I didn't know theirs. That was a problem to me. So when you're getting the coaching space, you should be doing it to serve other people, right? You should be doing it to help those other people. You should be doing it to really empower your past version of yourself. But here's what happens when you overcomplicate it, when you create these clever offers, when you use aspirational language, when you are doing things that aren't in your authentic state, you don't have clarity on your avatar, the language is burned out. People don't have success. And success is defined many different ways. But when you can have significance and you can land with people, would you like? You'll get success. But if you're chasing success, I'm gonna put $1,000 on this. I'm gonna tell them that they can come hang out with me. I've watched Dan Martell, who is my personal coach for a long time. He gets people to come in the room for $10,000. Let me try to do the exact same thing. Borrowed authority. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. So stop trying to borrow someone else's authority. Understand how to build your own. Follow a model like our real blueprint that is built for specifically you. It's not anything that is like, oh, only Adam said to do it this way. No. We've built this so that it transcends industry, right? It's not just real estate or not just business. It transcends industry. Dan, over the last, 60 days or so, we've had 4 pastors join our community.
Oh, really?
That scares the heck out of me. Right? It's like they've got the real process called the Bible, and they want to come in and build a business, right? A coaching business. And it's just fascinating to me. So you will get out of this if you're doing it for the wrong reason.
So final question for you, Adam. If someone out in our audience, an experienced executive, a consultant, or maybe even a coach, if they're listening today and they know they have that valuable knowledge, but they can't figure out how to turn it into a clear business and a successful business, what's the first question you would ask of them?
Great question. So if they haven't turned it into a successful business, what's the first question I would ask them?
Yeah.
First question, I got to go inside to go outside. I don't believe, Dan, in the why approach. What's your big why? I don't believe in that. And here's why. That's internal feelings, right? That's an internal thing that's like, oh, this is my big why, my family, my ability to go create passive income, right? I've heard them all. Those don't work. And here's why. Look where you are. You aren't where you really want to be. You're not there. But yet you have this why you think you do, and it's not motivating you. What motivates is you got to have clarity on your North Star, right? I call this your North Star. The North Star, when we go out into the darkness tonight, we can find it. That's our path. That's our direction. That's where we want to grow to. Didn't say go to, you got to grow to it, right? So someone that's not having success in this space, I would ask them, what's your North Star? Where are you growing to? And who knows it, right? Who knows it? We have a vision statement inside the I Love Coaching community that was given to me when what we call our beach chair moment, which in my beach chair moment, which we didn't discuss, but that's when I really had a true come to Jesus, a real moment of clarity. And that's when I sold all my businesses. And I keep it right here, Proverbs 13:20, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. If you don't know your North Star, and if others don't know your North Star, my vision statement for the I Love Coaching community is to empower coaches. That's not just me, that's all of us. Empower coaches to change and serve 100 million people using our real coach method. That's my North Star. That's not my why. That's my North Star. That's where I'm going. How do I measure 100 million? I don't know. It's going to be one of those things when we hit it, everyone will say, wow, that was quite the accomplishment of the I Love Coaching community. They had God on their side, right? That's how I think. That's how I feel. That's what I know going forward. So to answer that, the first question I would ask someone is, tell me about your North Star. Where are you growing to? Not going to, where are you growing to?
Very cool. Well, this has been a great conversation, and it's clear from everything you've shared with us that a successful coaching entity starts with clarity about who you help, the problem you solve, and the experience that gives you a unique way to solve it. AI can certainly help us organize things, ideas, improve execution, and even create leverage, but it can't replace that lived experience, conviction, and the empathy that make a coach worth listening to. Adam, you've been a phenomenal guest. I've learned so much from this conversation. I really appreciate it. If people want to learn more about Adam Roach and the I Love Coaching Company, the Real Coach Method, the SMART acronym that you mentioned, how do they find you and get in touch with you?
Yep, very easily. So Adam Roach is my name. Throw a middle initial R in there. So Adam R. Roach. That's me on Instagram. That's me on YouTube. That's also Facebook and LinkedIn and all of those other good ones, though. Those are the two channels I usually use most, is Instagram and YouTube. So DM me. Say, hey, I heard you on Dan's show. Can you explain more about this? Now, here's the cool part is I will answer your DMs. Not a VA, not a bot, not an AI tool. And here's why, because I got to go back to my North Star. Walk with the wise and become wise. I'm going to engage with you. My team gets a little frustrated with me because I love to sit there and have conversations with people on DM, but I want to know what you're looking to grow into. I want to know these things, and I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to learn about you. So that's where you can find me, Adam R. Roach. And then the I Love Coaching community is housed on ilovecoachingco.com. CO stands for community. And go take the Find Your Path. Go take the sellable offer scorecard and see where your business is. And if you have any desires to jump into any of our events coming up, it's right there on the events page. And if you want to learn about our membership, it's right there on the membership page. So we're here to serve you guys any way, shape, or form. We will invite you into the community if there's alignment between where you're growing to and where we can help you. And it's an amazing, amazing community, Dan. We've been blessed to now serve coaches on 4 continents. Who would have thought? Wow. 4 continents we've helped coaches. And it's just a powerful thing. I wake up every day with a big smile on my face and a big smile on my heart because I don't work. Dan, I don't work, brother. I get to serve these coaches all day, every day. And it's just a blessing. And I thank you for allowing me to share here the opportunity for coaches to continue to empower other people.
Well, thank you for investing the time in the podcast and joining us today. It's been a phenomenal episode, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
And thank you to the audience for tuning in.
Yes.
This has been the SmartMAI Consulting Edge Podcast, and I'm Dan Mulberry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got our freedom just begun, living large under